This is the lead leg wall drill. Take a couple steps back, 1, 2, and we just really focus on the form, staying off our heels. He's kind of on his heel a little bit there, but we try to push the hips into the wall. And then you can do it on a fence too, but I think you need to kick up onto like a fence post so you don't like fall into the chain link fence or something. But wall is best for this. And we actually do this at the lowest notch. So I'm not really worried about the height. You can see he's getting good hip extension, the knee's getting really high. And a big focus of this is leading with a bent knee. A lot of people think because the lead leg ends up straightening, you want to lead with a straight knee, but no, you want to unfold it. So lead with a high bent knee. We actually did this was 10 years ago. He played in the NFL for a little bit, so he's pretty good. We kind of pushed it with how fast we did this, and I've actually slowed it down completely. I don't do any speed on this drill anymore. I actually make them go as slow as possible because it's actually a little more taxing to go slow. If you do this drill and you're really making it go slow, it's like, ooh, it really works your hip and your glute med. But I like to rock back on that and have our hips come through first because that simulates how we go over the hurdle. So the joints go hip and then knee and then foot over the hurdle because sometimes people will go like lead the knee get in front of the hip and then gets you all messed up. This is the lead leg walkover. Again, we do not extend. We just focus on the leading with a high bent knee. This is the trail leg walkover. I'm a stickler on making sure the whole foot gets past the hurdle on the side. So that left leg is his lead leg stepping over on the side. And the only foot that goes over is the trail leg, but you gotta step past. And I'm a big stickler on only one step in between these hurdles. I put them at 6 baby steps, lowest notch, and you get land plus 1, land plus 1. I think it teaches them to A, be in control of that trail leg coming through, and B, be efficient and utilize every stride. So we do lead leg walkover for 3, trail leg walkover for 3, and then we do walking over the middle, putting it all together for 3. We do all these drills 3 times. On the wall and fence row, we do it for 8 reps. So that now we're just doing it with a skip. It kind of gets you in a rhythm. You know, hurdles are a very rhythmic exercise, and it gets you into a good rhythm, and it also kind of teaches you to get enough space between you and the hurdle as you're leading into it, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute is a very important thing for us. And then we do trail leg skip over. So once again, you want to step past the hurdle every time. So let's talk a little bit about the most important things to me beyond steps. We had a conversation yesterday about what you think the most important thing for a hurdler is. Okay, if speed is off the table, like they had the speed to 3-step and everything, it's the takeoff step, AKA the cut step. The cut step, by definition, is just a shorter stride that does not get out in front, and it just really ensures that you land underneath the hip, because if you take off with your foot out in front, you're gonna, that's what they teach long jumpers, high jumpers, right? What does that do? It gets you up, right? So we want you to get under and joint stack, no heel. That kind of helps you pull it under, because it's hard to land on your heel if your foot is underneath you. So that's a cue I use, no heel. That'll make sure it pulls underneath the hip. You stack your joints, and then also helps you get enough distance. And that's what I could not get Clayton to do. He was landing out in front, which is very common, and I think he would have got it, but usually when somebody's a state champion or future state champion in the sprints, we can just go ahead and send them to sprint. So here's the difference. The one on the right is the state record holder. The one on the left is really good. He went like 14.8, but you can see the difference. His heel is landed, his foot's out in front, and look how perfectly joint stacked he is on the right. So that's the difference to me between 15 flat and 14 flat. You know, when speed is equal, that's the difference right there.
How do you get them to do that?
I think it's something that does not gradually come. It's something that clicks. I had a hurdler that I literally was going to put the guy on the left in the sectional lineup because he's pretty good, and he ran like 14.8. My third hurdler ran 14.9. It just wasn't coming along. But something happened. I ended up switching the lineup, and then all of a sudden my guy got the cut step, like right before the sectional. He dropped his PR from 14.9 to 14.3 in 2 weeks. I mean, it was just, you got to be patient for it. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't click, but you just keep cueing it. You keep showing video, and that's really the main thing when people ask me, like, I don't coach hurdles. Like, what do I do? I'm like, tell them what they need to do. You can, you know, just show them this type of stuff, and like, just take a video of their rep, show them what it looks like, and they'll be able to tell the difference, where they need to be. Things just happen so fast, and there's so many moving parts that it's hard to do it when you're moving so fast. But I think if you just keep hammering it, keep telling them, they can get frustrated though, so you know, don't dwell. And then the other thing is try to manipulate that hurdle distance as well, to get them to be in a position where they don't feel like they have to reach for the hurdle. Sometimes they feel like they need to reach to make it to the hurdle. And if you bring that distance down, they're gonna be more likely to take that shorter step. So here's a reach. I mean, these guys are awesome hurdlers. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on them, but you can see that their foot's out in front and their heel's about to touch first. That's the two things you don't want. You don't want the takeoff foot to land out in front, and you don't want it to be heel first, just like sprinting, right? And then that will take you into this launch type position, which is very similar to acceleration, right? It's just at a lesser angle. You're a little more upright, but you got the parallel shins, you got a forward tilt, you got nose in front of your toes, you got the head in front of the hip in front of the heel, and you're about to toe hook off, and you can tell he's just launching horizontally into the hurdle and not up. And then landing step, I could not figure out how to get this picture correct, but here's the cues. We want it to be a one-footed step. This is where we really focus on the arm action making a difference. If your arm action is not compact and close, that's all I want. I just want bent elbows, and keep your elbows out, hands in. Because if you get big, that's a heavy lever. It's going to pull you back coming off the hurdle. And that's what my state champion hurdler did the worst, was he would have a long back arm, but he was so strong for some reason it did not twist him. So that's why some people would comment like, he looks like his arm action is not good enough. I'm like, yeah, but it works for him. And then we were at the Brian Kula speech last night, and he talked about, how about you run on sand and I run on the road, and we'll see who wins, right? And what he means is reacting quickly versus if you're on sand, you're going to be like, you know, and that's what a lot of people do coming off the hurdle. They will collapse, and then they will borrow the trail leg as part of their landing. So I always say it should be a one-footed landing, and a lot of people are like, obviously, your lead leg's going to land first, but a lot of times people will not land. That's a pretty loaded foot there on the left, right? And then that leads to being airborne. So if they're not airborne coming off that lead leg, then that's a two-footed landing. So he was able to land on the one foot and push off of that foot to get airborne. So he's sprinting, like he's already sprinting off that hurdle. Over the hurdle form, like I said, hurdlers love, this is their favorite part. To me, it's like, whatever. Trail leg, I want it to be, it needs to be a bent knee. Some people will like kind of extend their foot over the hurdle because they're scared they're going to hit it, which is counterintuitive. It's dumb. Knee should always be higher than the foot. You are never going to get to that position if your foot gets above the knee. It's going to come like this. Your knee leads the way. Your foot's going to follow it, so it's just going to collapse. So you want knee always higher than the foot from the jump. So when we're working our drills, a lot of my beginners will start to go foot up first. I'm like, your knee got left behind. Lead with the knee. I'm like, you have a little brother? So like whenever I was, you know, beating Quinn up when he was a little kid, knee him in the chest, you know? I'm like, knee your little brother in the chest. Keep the toe up and out, and keep your heel to the butt. And all that is going to get you through the hurdle. You're not going to hit it. And if by chance you do hit the hurdle, you're going to just graze it, right? You'll just go right through. And if you are toe down, that's when you hit and clip and fall. So keep the toe up and out, heel to the butt instead of extending because now your foot's lower. Over the hurdle, so this is kind of the fourth grader that I've been training. She's awesome, but she loves to get her foot higher. I think it's because she's scared she's going to hit it. So you can see the first one, the foot got way too high, and then I'm yelling at her, and she kind of fixes it right there. Here's another angle. I'm like, foot's too high. There you go. There you go. Oh, you hear me.